Priyadarshini, an ultra cyclist from Cochin in Kerala. I was not much of a sports person to begin with, but tried to indulge whenever I had the chance, dabbling in karate, roller skating, and kayaking among other sports during my school years. It was later at the National Institute of Fashion Technology, my alma mater, that from 2006 to 2010 I got the opportunity to participate actively, even winning prizes in intra and inter-college competitions for sports including cricket, kho-kho, badminton, throwball and basketball. An apparel and graphics designer by profession, the years from 2010 to 2016 were solely about work, and sadly, I had no time to engage in sports. It was in 2017 that I restarted. I bought myself a second-hand mountain bike and took up cycling for fitness. It was later pointed out by a fellow cyclist that the bike was extremely large for me. Given my zero knowledge and experience on the subject back then, I hadn't even realized it. During a Women's Day ride held in the city, I met and became a part of the Cochin Bikers Club, a wonderful group of warm-hearted, enthusiastic cyclists and enablers who have always supported and encouraged me. It was through them that I was introduced to the world of randonneuring in 2018, becoming the first female super randonneur from Kerala the very same year. Another SR down the line, I qualified and proceeded to participate in the prestigious Paris-Brest Paris 2019. A dream come true. Cycling has truly been the best gift I could give myself, a real blessing that has had a very positive impact on my life, and hence I try promoting it whenever I can by participating in fitness and awareness campaigns, including Go Green initiatives. Alongside cycling, I also took up running, participating in marathons held across the city and have been a podium finisher multiple times. The high point being the time I was congratulated by the legendary Payoli Express, Padma Shri P.T. Usha, as a podium finisher in 2017. A truly cherished moment in my life to come face to face with an athlete who has been a role model for a generation of Indians. In 2018, I participated in the world's highest marathon, the Ladakh Marathon. Besides running and cycling, I am a regular practitioner of Hatha Yoga and enjoy trekking, swimming, badminton, and I am currently learning golf. In pleasure sports, I have done horse riding, parasailing, undersea walk, snorkeling, river rafting, zip lining, and yachting as a crew. Sports aside, I have other passions and hobbies too. With a diploma in the Indian classical dance of Kathak under my belt, I am currently pursuing Mohiniyattam and other folk dances of Kerala such as Tiruvattirakali. Theatre is another passion. I am a part of the Cochin English Theatre Collective and have performed at the 2016 edition of Kochi Muziris Biennale, the largest contemporary art festival in Asia. The environmental cause is also very close to my heart. An ardent follower of reduce, reuse, recycle, I have held exhibitions of my upcycled products to promote the same. My love for exploring new places and cultures has taken me to 13 countries so far, and I am proficient in Marathi, Hindi, English and French. There's a lot more that I want to do and learn. My grandfather always says, "Kelyane hot ahe re, adi keleच पाहिजे," which loosely translates to "करने से सब होता है रे, पहले शुरू तो कर ले." I try to follow this mantra as much as I can. Like they say, ultimately, it's all in the mind.
Hello everyone, a warm welcome from Cyclonet. We are back again with a series Courage Unlimited. We bring you interactions with amazing women who are passionate about what they believe in. These are unstoppable women who dare to pursue their own path. They listen to their inner voice and they have tremendous courage to face failures also. Let's welcome Priyadarshini Pawar, who is a very passionate cyclist and enthusiast runner. She's a very creative and graceful dancer, a theater person, and I would call her a true sport enthusiast. Hi, Priyadarshini. Welcome. And it's our privilege to have you with us today. I'm really amazed to see the way you have explored practically every adventure sport. And you are excelling in all these sports. Your journey is really going to be very inspiring for our viewers. And I'm sure your bucket list is ever growing. So, I know you have been into so many sport, and it has always been your endeavor to explore different types of adventure sports also. Today we will talk more about your journey to ultra cycling, and we will definitely like to know about your experiences in randonneering. How did you get into randonneering? And it will be really great to listen to your experiences of PBP, Paris Brest Paris, which you participated in 2019. So how did you think of getting into ultra cycling?
Okay, firstly, thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words and for having me here today. I'm really excited to be a part of this wonderful platform. To answer your question, honestly, I had never thought of ultra cycling. I had never heard of randonneuring before, since it is a comparatively lesser known sport in India. I was into cycling though, and it was during a 100-kilometer century ride organized by Cochin Bikers Club here in Cochin that I learned that they also conduct rides covering distances like 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers, and so on. And I thought it sounded fantastic because I was really loving cycling. I wanted to explore new challenges, and from the moment that I heard of this, I was very keen to take it up. Thinking of this randonneuring as an adventure opportunity that would allow me to see new places on my bike and paying no heed to the rules such as the strict time limit and guidelines part initially. I did, of course, become well versed with these when I registered on the Audax India Randonneurs website. And at first, I was a little hesitant, but then I thought those rules also made it more interesting, like the self supported part and all of that. So, as a challenge to myself, I prepared myself accordingly and participated in the first brevet of my life, or 200 kilometers, just to see if I could do it at all. And then, the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, so I think it happens with that. You have initially everybody has that inhibition whether I would be able. It's all your mental. So once you get into that, then there is no limit to it. And as I can see that after doing your first 200 BRM, then there was no stopping at all. Then you ventured into. I think you did two SRs, right? So if you could tell us about your experiences, each and every ride must have been really memorable.
True. Yes, ma'am. Actually, my randonneuring journey has been a short but very exciting one. From January 2018, when I started, to August 2019, I have participated in a total of 8 BRMs, earning 2 SR titles, like you said, and then the Paris Brest Paris of 1200 kilometers. Each and every ride, I would say, has been truly unique and memorable with great learning experiences. My first SR series was a special one, of course. I started out with a 200 BRM in my own city, Cochin, and it was an extremely tough one for me at the time. And even otherwise, it is one of the tougher 200 BRMs here. So in January 2018, amid hot and humid weather, up and down rolling terrain, steep uphill climb included, this BRM for me was a killer. And thankfully, I had transitioned from the second-hand double XL mountain bike to an appropriate sized new Ridley hybrid bicycle. But still, it was a Herculean task for me. It was very challenging. However, when I completed that feeling of exhilaration, despite all the exhaustion, that high that I think every randonneur must be feeling on finishing a brevet successfully, it's just something else. And that had me hooked to the sport. And for that feeling that, because of that feeling that led to so many more brevets thereafter, and because it was my first brevet that initiated me into randonneuring,
It's the one that is closest to my heart. Then I did a 300 BRM in Vishakhapatnam in February 2018, which I did with my father-in-law on his birthday. And yes, and with that ride, he became a randonneur himself. So that was a special one.
Wow.
Thereafter, September 2018 was the month of two BRMs for me. I did a 400 in Hyderabad, and I was wary of it because it was going to be my first all-night ride. But thankfully, I found great company on my night ride part of the brevet, and despite the fact that I didn't sleep a wink, I felt energetic because of that company that I had. And it's one of those very special BRM memories for me on a full moon night with the light guiding us through the outskirts of the city, music playing on speakers, chit chatting, boosting each other. We rode all night. It was a really an enjoyable ride. It's one of my favorites. Next, I did a 600 BRM at Coimbatore, which is an unforgettable one. I call it the ride against all odds because I had to overcome first time challenges, taking decisions that were very difficult for me at the time. So it was a 37-hour obstacle course, literally. I faced never before experienced scenarios like periods and bad cramps starting just before the ride, and I had never done a ride on my periods before. Then brake failure as I began my ride. Then about 80 kilometers into it, I had a bad puking incident, probably because my stomach was all topsy-turvy due to the fact that I was menstruating. And later that night, there was a crazy thunderstorm, heavy rains, thunder, lightning, the works, with zero visibility. And I was cycling alone at that point. There was no shelter in sight. And on my periods nonetheless. So it was a very uncomfortable, very unnerving experience. And then the next day, a mega flyover challenge of about 170 kilometers involving chain of never-ending flyovers. One finished, the other started. That sort of thing. So it was very challenging one, but it was the pot of gold, I would say, at the end of the rainbow. That SR title that awaited, that boosted me on, and of course, it was all worth it in the end. I think it.
Yeah, a well deserved.
Sorry?
A well deserved.
Yes, ma'am. I think that's what I think it made for a fitting last challenge before that, that big title. So the hardships, made that victory even sweeter. And yes, the cherry on top was that I had also become Kerala's first woman super randonneur with that ride.
Wow.
So that was my first SR series. Thereafter, the second SR series was more in preparation and to qualify for PBP 2019. I completed that in a span of 3 months from December 2018 to February 2019. I started off with a 200 BRM in Pune, and that was special because we rode towards Satara, which is my native place, and it was a very nostalgic ride. Next, 400 BRM I attempted in Cochin, which took us to Tamil Nadu and back. So it was the first time that I was crossing into another state on my BRM, on a BRM, and that made it special. I traveled to attempt a 600 in Goa, which again took us to Karnataka and back. And this BRM, it takes the prize hands down for being the toughest brevet of my life, and probably the one that was some practice for PBP in terms of terrain. It was a roller coaster ride, exhausting uphill climbs on rough roads, conquering many ghats, crossing wildlife sanctuaries, beaches. After the last BRM in my second SR series was a 300, which I did at Noida. It was my first time riding in the north of India, and the challenge here was the cold winter weather. Because I thought, again, this would be good exposure to the kind of weather that I could perhaps expect in France. And I didn't own any appropriate gear, so I wore whatever I had and just doubled up on layers. And so that ride was also special because we cycled towards Rohtak in Haryana, which is my husband's hometown.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So with that second SR series completed, in addition to qualifying for PBP, I also achieved a small dream of mine actually, that of ultra cycling in north, east, west, and south of India.
Wow, this is amazing.
It felt,
Yeah.
Yes, so it was a really great feeling.
So both, I
And
can see both your SR series were really very challenging. So terrain was also challenging, weather, terrain, then your physical condition, and of course there were memories of. This is really amazing that you and your father-in-law doing brevet together on his birthday. That must have been a most memorable experience.
yes, it was.
Yeah. Okay, so after doing your both the SR titles, then you thought of rather second SR was your preparatory for PBP. So I would like to know that how did you prepare for PBP and what was your experience during PBP also? Because it's even if you have done 600 BRM, PPP was certainly a big leap. So, how did you prepare yourself mentally, physically? Of course, you had done your SR series. So, tell me more about your preparations for PPP.
To begin with, there was a certain motivation that I had, to participate in PBP, and that itself I would like to tell you about. It came from the challenge that was PBP and the whole aura around it. I learned about PBP after my first SR, about how it is known as the Mecca of Randonneuring. It is arguably the oldest cycling event in the world, predating the modern Olympic Games even, and how it sees qualified randomers from all over the world participate. And just hearing my fellow cyclists speak of it, it really excited me. It gave me that adrenaline rush that I would have whenever I thought of the next BRM challenge. And here was an opportunity that had presented itself because PBP was due to happen the next year in 2019. And at that point, I just, thought to myself that I can grab this opportunity now if I work for it and I qualify. So I put that on my bucket list, and I started preparing towards it because I really wanted to qualify and so that I could participate the very next year.
Yeah.
Because I thought that ye same opportunity kya pata kal ho na ho.
Correct.
And even though my experience as a randonneur was less, my Josh was not, and I still wanted to give it a shot. So that was my motivation behind it and why I took it up. And after my second SR in 2019, I had qualified, the stage was set, and I was inching closer to my dream. So that was an incredible feeling. And so that was my motivation behind it. And as regards preparation, when I qualified for PBP, I was added to this Pan India PBP WhatsApp group, which was already buzzing with many Indian participants from all over the world. It was a very overwhelming feeling for me to be part of that group even. And I was excited, but also very nervous because some of the chat room conversations, I couldn't even understand the terminology at the time. But I'm so thankful for that group because it taught me many things. It was a real eye opener for what lay ahead of me. It brought me in touch with experienced cyclists and PBP veterans whom I could question freely and who were nice, so kind and good to answer whatever questions I had, to share their experiences and advice with all of us. So this WhatsApp group, it was really like a one-stop solution for everything pertaining to PBP. I think also that group, it made me feel like I was part of the pack, that we were in this as a team together too, which also felt incredible. And so that was one part that really helped me in my preparation for PBP. And otherwise, there was a lot of research, planning, and training, like you said, that went into it. For training, I made the transition from a hybrid bicycle that I had to a new road bike after consulting with my fellow cyclists in March 2019. And then I started training in a phased manner to enhance my performance, cycling as often as I could. My Sundays would be reserved for long rides. And alongside, I also regularly practiced yoga to stretch out and stay focused so that, like you said, to mentally sort of strengthen myself. And technical training was another area that I focused on, taking tutorials from friends in the cycling community on various mechanical problems that could arise, especially since I had a new road bike now. And then I would practice regularly at home. Again, that WhatsApp group was a big blessing in that aspect too. It threw light on accessories and items like CO2 cartridges and other things like that that would help make life easier in case of any mechanical or technical issues. So that training I did, and then there was a lot of research and planning in which I focused on admin, logistics, and I did an in-depth PVP related study for things like terrain, climate, route, and all of that. And all along, my focus was on having a plan B ready for any kind of situation that could crop up or arise, because I knew that I was going to be in a new environment, in a totally unfamiliar environment. So that was very important, and it resulted in a lot of shopping for the event, aside from the regular items that I bought for routine BRMs, including waterproof items, warm clothing, highly recommended energy gels that I had never tried before, then a cyclometer to replace my phone to keep track of time, distance, and many more such items that I had never owned before, or I had no clue of. And thus, thoroughly being prepared in terms of gear related to myself and to my cycle. So that this is all that went into it, into the preparation part. And as for nutrition, I didn't really plan anything special. My focus was on staying hydrated and also maintaining a balanced diet overall, trying to take in as much protein as I could. Yes, I think that about sums up my preparation for PBP. And mentally, I kept myself focused, and I knew that this was a chance that I could not miss. So that really boosted me and motivated me.
So it's not just about having practice, having done practice rides. It's all about managing your time, and it's all about so much of energy put in for preparations. And I know that there was another challenge. Like I said, this is Courage Unlimited, and you have tremendous courage to face uncertainties, and you have tremendous courage to face fight against all odds. And I believe you had to face another big challenge when you traveled to Paris, right? So I would like to know more about this, and then we'll share your experiences during the race.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, like you mentioned, reaching Paris from Cochin itself had been a big struggle. Kerala was actually reeling under floods and heavy rains at that time, and Cochin airport was announced to remain shut on the day of my flight out. And I somehow reached Trivandrum airport to catch my particular flight that had been rescheduled to depart from there now. And it was raining cats and dogs. Intercity trains were not operational. So I booked myself a cab, and thankfully the roads to Trivandrum were clear and had opened up by then. And with my bike box and all the luggage, I was alone at the time. I just made it in time. So my journey to PVP also started with a big bang. So as you can imagine, I was really relieved to reach there even.
Great. So then was the D-Day, and how was your experience during the race? And because that was a totally different country, terrain was different, and I believe for such a long duration race, it's all about staying mentally fit. So how did you cope up with all the challenges which you faced? And of course, the most exciting would be at the finish line, your experiences at the finish line.
Yes, ma'am. So it was going to be my first PBP. It was going to be my first international cycling experience. I was really proud to be part of the Indian contingent at such a prestigious event. It was my first 1200-kilometer ride ever, and it felt amazing to be doing that with randonneurs from all over the world. It was my first long distance cycling event on my new road bike. So it was going to be a ride of many firsts for me. And at PBP, the whole ambience there was electrifying. I was thrilled just to be there. Like I said, I was relieved that I had reached there, to have reached there. And I pinched myself at the start line because I couldn't believe that it was real, it was happening. And thereafter, I thoroughly enjoyed, cycling through the exquisite landscapes of France, crossing cozy little villages, seeing a side of France that is totally different from the regular tourism. And it is so beautiful and so fairy tale like, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the warm French hospitality all along the route, people cheering us on, setting up tents or sitting out with food and drinks that we could help ourselves to. I really loved meeting and interacting with awe-inspiring cyclists and wonderfully kind people from all over the world, making friends, sharing stories as we cycle. And I even enjoyed the international reunion with my Indian cyclists, many of whom I was meeting for the first time. So these are some of the great fond memories I have of PBP. Of course, like you mentioned, there were many challenges that I faced too. My main problem areas being food and sleep management. Food, because being a vegetarian, I often had limited or no options, and sleep, I hardly got around 4 to 5 hours of sleep in total during the entire 97-hour ride. And I was mostly riding in order to reach checkpoints in time, and I had underestimated the terrain. Also, at checkpoints, there would be long queues for the limited vegetarian food, so that took up a lot of time, and put together, aggregated that ate into my planned sleep time. And so there I suffered, yes. And that lack of food and sleep, it led me to fainting also at one point during my ride. I blacked out. I was all alone. It was a forest at night, totally dark around me. And I don't know how long it was before I regained sense, probably 10, 15 minutes, something like that. Somehow I got up and cycled on. And at the next checkpoint, I was admitted into a medical tent at the next checkpoint owing to an extremely low BP. And the medical volunteers there, they were like angels for me because they took such good care of me. And after adequate rest and food, I was back in action. Again, the extreme variation in temperatures also added to my woes, because in the day, the body had to adapt to extremely hot climate in some areas, while in the night, the temperatures would drop and it would be extremely chilly. So that was, again, something that was personally challenging for me. Also, I experienced what I had only read about till then, the hallucinations. So I hallucinated badly towards the end of the ride. In the night, I would imagine these trees around me like monsters closing in on me, and that was very scary. And I was startled many a time on my bike. But despite all that, despite everything, I was highly motivated and focused on finishing successfully. Then again, unpredictably, I got my periods on the last morning of the ride. It was totally unexpected because I had had them just 2 weeks back, and already low on stamina. This drew a lot out of me, but I didn't let that stop me. I remained positive still and cycled on. And however, around 89 hours through, I realized that I wouldn't be able to reach the finish in time because of the distance that was yet to be covered. And that is when I broke down. I didn't want to believe that after coming so far, after putting in all the efforts in preparation for this event, and after putting in my best foot forward on the pedal, that I wouldn't be able to cross within the 90-hour limit. And I was so heartbroken. I just started to cry. I remember I was near a cafe at that time, and this gentleman, a photographer, and then this Indian PBP veteran, they were crossing around the same time, and they really boosted my morale. They were so kind, and they took the time to speak to me at such a time when I was just sitting and crying there. And because of that, it gave me that push that I needed. And I said to myself that I will not quit. I will pedal to that finish line. I recalled a fellow cyclist saying to me earlier on, when I had missed a checkpoint earlier in the ride, and I had to cycle back about 30 kilometers just to get my stamp. And I was feeling low because I had lost out on that time. And this cyclist who was with me, he said to me in French, "Tu n'es pas perdu," which means all is not lost. And I repeated those words to myself and told myself, "Tu n'es pas perdu," all is not lost. And I was resolute in my mind, and I did it in 97 hours. And I felt so thankful, like you said, at the finish line. I was so thankful to God that, I had done it. In the history of the 125 years of this event, we were the first Indian women to cross that line, to complete that 1200-kilometer route. So that felt great. And the next time, I'm sure it will be within the 90-hour limit.
Yeah.
So really, my PvP adventure was a good mix of highs and lows. And I take all of these as great learning experiences, because they have only added on to my randonneuring journey, and I feel I'm the better for it now.
Absolutely. So this that's the reason I feel that all these stories are so motivating and encouraging for fellow cyclists. And hats off to you, your great courage and determination. And I'm sure in the entire journey of yours, your family must have been a great support to you. And that's a very important thing for any woman who is into ultra cycling or any adventure sport for that matter.
Yes, my family has always been supportive and encouraging, and I'm grateful for that. My randonneuring journey has really been an incredible one. 2 years back, I would have never thought it possible. Being exposed to different places, climates, terrain, food, culture, meeting new people, making friends, sharing stories, and all of this while riding a bike. So I feel very lucky and blessed that I was able to do that. It really brought the best out of me, and I feel I'm very fortunate, and I'm extremely grateful to all those who have been part of my journey, who have helped me, advised me, guided, and motivated me along my way here. I am thankful to Ms. Divya Tate for enabling the sport in India, to Cochin Bikers Club and all the Pan India clubs, cyclists, organizers that have been part of my journey. I would also want to take this opportunity to thank all of them for bearing with my incessant phone calls and messages, for always being available to share their valuable inputs with me at all times. And it has been truly amazing to meet so many lovely people and inspiring riders from all over India, including you and your team, ma'am, who have started this brilliant initiative to bring in experiences of all cyclists together under one roof. So my heartfelt gratitude to everyone.
In the end, I would definitely like, this sounds to be a very typical question, but that's very important. That what is your message to women out there, and who would be wanting to venture into, but they don't have courage? So what is your message for women?
Um, Firstly, for those women who are not into cycling yet, I highly recommend it. It is, easy on your body. It is a gentle option for those who want an intense workout without stressing out your joints too much. So get into it slowly and steadily. If you are hesitant at first, or haven't touched that bike in a long time, taking that first step towards it is usually the most difficult one, I know. But once you're on the seat and you start riding and you start building your stamina and start reaping the many multiple benefits that cycling offers, be it physical, mental, social, economical, environmental, travel, all these perks in one sport, then nothing can stop you. And once you start enjoying cycling, or if you're already into it, then you can take it a notch up by venturing into ultra cycling. If you want to challenge yourself further, of course, pillar of support really helps. But otherwise, like about ultra cycling, I can tell you that once you start building your stamina, your endurance power increases, and where there's a will, there's a way, and you can do it easily. And trust me, you will be preaching yourself about it. Ultra cycling and randonneuring, they take you on a journey of finding yourself, where you experience a variety of situations, emotions, but still keep moving ahead, and displaying your all-round skills and your willpower to overcome everything. And this itself, it works wonders for your body, your all-round development, your knowledge, your confidence, your personality, mental makeup, and your general attitude towards life. It can be a real game changer. And the ultra cycling community is growing from strength to strength. There are people of all ages and fitness levels engaged in this sport. And trust me, they will be more than happy to guide you, advise you, answer any questions or doubts that you may have. And so, this is my message to all those women. It's a wonderful world out here from which you have a lot to gain. And it's never too late to venture out. Just remember that, you know, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a small first step,
Yes.
or should I say, the first pedal.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm very sure that after listening to you and more and more such success stories, and many women are going to get motivated. And of course, this is a motivational story for fellow men cyclists also. And I'm very sure that you will give me more and more chances to interview you, so that we get to know about your adventures in future also. And on behalf of the entire cycling community, I wish you very good luck. And I'm really very proud to say that the women contingent in PBP 2019 has made us really very proud. And thank you so much once again. Hope to see you again with your new adventures. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes.